Saturday, March 3rd, they're at Cornish Pasty Company with the Rifleman, Indigo Kid, Brendan Schultz of Mercy Music, and Brock Verbeil of Go Bold, and the formerly the band known as The Core. I guess they're still known as The Core, but they just don't do anything anymore. But yeah, he will be doing acoustic stuff, right? Right, okay. It's a free show. It starts at 8 p.m. That is a 21 and over show. Cornish Pasty Company is on Charleston and Art.
Komp 92.3, the rock station.
Welcome back to the Homegrown Show. I'm Lori Steele. My in-studio guest tonight, Illicitor. Welcome to the show, guys. First time in here. Well, for most of you.
Hello.
Thank you.
Hello.
So before we get started, let's go around and introduce yourself and what you do in the band.
All right. My name is Micah. I play drums for Illicitor.
My name is Bob. I play guitar and I do vocals.
My name is Zubby. I play bass and vocals, and I'm always late.
Okay.
True.
Well, I'm glad you were on time tonight, because you would have been left outside, like, at the window, like, you know, the orphan kid that got shut out of the meal.
Weather's getting bad, too. So
It is kind of windy out there. You're a little guy. I don't know how strong you could handle those winds.
No, I'm hoping somebody just wants to, like, you know, make a Facebook video about how good it makes them feel to give stuff to homeless people, and they just give me things, and it'll be work out really nicely. We'll see.
Is that what the beard's about?
Yeah, it's more of a really old Halloween costume that I just can't quite shake.
Really good glue, huh?
Yeah.
it's a long
Zubby's
con.
very method, so he's keeping it.
Well, see, what you need to do is every time he's late, take a half inch off of it, and before you know it, he'll be clean shaven. Or he'll learn his lesson, one of the two.
Yeah.
So it's like
very
he's
true.
time traveling and getting younger.
Exactly.
As we-
Exactly. Yeah. See, I'm
Yeah,
here for
I
you
will
guys. I've got all the
never be
ideas.
You really do.
Just
Even
pick
off
my
mic,
brain.
you were giving us all these great ideas.
Writing all of them down.
Yeah. Keep track, except for that
That's a lie. All right, Illicitor is in studio with me. They have a brand new CD coming out. Your very first one, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Congratulations. And I guess there's enough tracks on here. It's actually considered a full length, right? Not an EP.
Yeah.
So congratulations for the eponymous CD.
Thank you.
The track that I was spinning from you guys for quite a while is City of Gold. That's actually it's on here, but it's not the same recording, right?
Right. All the recordings on this record are all from the same session, and we did kind of duplicate a couple songs, but mainly just so that we could get new versions of them in. So
Because after like living with him for a while, you kind of wanted to change some of the arrangements.
Totally, yeah.
You find new things as you know, with any age of a song, there's always going to be something that you figure out by playing them for long enough, and then they sound better to you because it keeps it interesting. So it's fun to figure out the new things.
But isn't that like a double-edged sword too? Because if you do that, like if you get into the habit of doing that, whenever you record, you're going to be like, oh, I should have redone this or I should have done that differently. I mean,
We'll do
right?
that
You're
anyway.
never happy, right?
Yeah. We're going to listen to anything that we do and be like, oh man, what about, and then it just goes from there.
Right. So, but then if you keep going back and reworking them, then you never actually do new songs because it's just you keep doing the same songs over and over again.
That's the beauty
And then-
of this being a debut, though, too, is we kind of wanted those songs to be on the full-length debut so that we could get them out, because we put them on an EP that was released a while ago, but, you know, I don't know how many people actually went and listened to that or whatever, so it was cool to kind of put some songs that we loved on here, change them up a little bit, but not give you the same version. But it's not the plan to do that, you know, we're not going to keep going and redoing the song, so, but that's, yeah, we, you know.
Well, that is a trap you could fall into, though, if you.
Yeah,
Well, no, we're not going to do it now because you told us not to.
Well, there you go. See,
exactly, another idea.
More good ideas.
on the list.
Yep.
Another free idea.
there's a pen. So how did you guys how long have you been writing the songs that are on here? Like, how long was the process? Obviously, I mean, at least City of Gold, were there other songs? Because I think that's the only one that I had.
The Body in the Dirt was on that EP as well. And actually, we recorded all those songs for this session, but one of those songs we took your advice before we heard it, and we left a song off.
How prescient of you.
Yeah. So, but no, all the songs we did at the same session at Ronald Corso's studio at 11th Street. So we did all of them, and really it was kind of why the album feels so frenetic was that we recorded it in a very short time frame. So everything we kind of put together as fast as best as we could. And that's sort of how the record came about. But it was actually done, 3 years ago? So we've been sitting on it for a while, but it's just a matter of making sure that we had everything together as far as the packaging and we wanted to do it right. We didn't want to rush it, and that was one of the things that we kind of afforded. We were afforded some time on, so.
So the interesting dynamic with you guys as a three-piece is that two of you guys share lead vocal duties, right? So is that also the case with the writing? Do you guys share, are you 50-50 on writing as well?
Yeah, it kind of goes as if I sing it, I wrote it. If Bob sings it, he wrote it. But we don't... I've never actually written a song start to finish and then brought it in and said this is how it's going to go. It always changes. I come in with just certain parts, or same thing with Bob. We'll just come in with parts, and then after we show each other everything, it kind of evolves into something from there. But yeah, I think as far as the lyrics go, I think that's pretty much the only thing that I wrote entirely. But as far as
so you wrote all the lyrics for all the songs?
Just the songs I wrote. Sorry, just the songs I sing.
Gotcha.
Same thing with Bob, but musically, it's pretty much a collective at that point. We all kind of get together and work it out.
So then, lyrically, is there a distinct, do you see a different kind of theme emerging for each of your styles of writing, or do you kind of touch on the same topics?
Totally. I think that there's, obviously, I think if you listen to it, there's a lot of stuff from both of us that's pretty personal, but we have different ways of expressing it. And Zubby, his lyrics on the record are a lot of them are very deep, but there's also a lot of humor in them, which is weird. It's he's very lighthearted about some very serious things, and then it's a weird kind of dynamic. It takes a little bit of pressure off too, because it's not like one person has to do all of these things. We all kind of workshop stuff together. If we can't figure out a lyric or something, we work it out.
Okay.
And
it's a little satirical. When there's certain things we're singing about space aliens sometimes, but there's a little bit more of a layer to it than you would think if you really pay attention. We're deep. Okay.
And we touched on this before, but for people listening who maybe don't know, Micah, why don't you list the other bands that you're in? Because I play most of them.
That's true. So I'm also in the Quitters. Thank you. I also play in New Cold War, who's also been on the show. And then I'm not sure if you played Same Sex Mary on the show before.
No.
But I just recently joined them in November.
Okay.
So that's pretty new, but I'm loving every second of it. It's fun to I like to stretch my wings and figure out what I'm going to do. And
so how does that, stepping away from the Illicitor, group for a minute, how does that stretch you time-wise? Because there's so many demands on people anyway, holding down jobs and other responsibilities while you're trying to write and perform, and so now you're doing that not just for one band or two bands or three, and now you're up to four bands. Do you get confused ever on which songs you're playing?
The wrong song. I just click off the wrong song. No, I wish I had the ability to time travel sometimes, because I do stretch myself pretty far, but I wouldn't do it unless I really enjoyed what I did. And I find different things that I can do in each band. I wouldn't be in multiple bands if I was doing the same thing over and over again. There's different aspects that I can, I can always expand how I play. Same Sex Mary is more indie, country, psychedelic sometimes. So I feel like I'm kind of like a fox in the hen house trying to sneak out all these really little tasty bits. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm on the radio, man. It's loud. No, yeah. But no, I get I get value out of all the different bands that I do.
Obviously, of course you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. But what I'm saying is does it make it more challenging? Obviously, it stretches you creatively to be able to do all the different projects, and and that's why most people do side projects or whatever. But what do you consider? They're all pretty established bands. So, what would you consider? Do you consider all of them your main project?
I don't know. It's kind of like saying you have a favorite child, really. I couldn't really... Stop looking at me. Zoe and Bob are staring daggers
You're in the hot seat right right now
my
because
face.
you have to say Illicitor. I'm assuming that's what they're saying. Right?
I mean, I am wearing the fashionable Illicitor, sweatshirt that just came out, available at our show.
Hey, thanks for bringing me one, guys. I appreciate it. It's really cool.
I almost didn't even get one. I had to buy it. Yeah. Yeah.
That's true. It's not free for anybody.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I've been with the Quitters the longest. I've known those guys since high school, but with Illicitor, I was a fan of Holding On to Sound, their previous band, like one of their biggest fans. So it felt like the genie granted me a wish. When I got the phone call from Zubby, hey, we want you to, play in Illicitor when their original drummer wasn't able to do it anymore. He didn't even finish the question. I said yes. It was just a really great opportunity.
Okay.
So that's I play music with people that I love, and it's been a very fruitful thing for me that I know that it's not going to be my last project. I'm trying to rip off Josh Freese from the Vandals and just be in every single band. Trying to knock him off.
He is like
check
a
him off the
studio
list.
monster, isn't he?
Oh man, yeah, with every type of person, every type of band too.
Yeah.
Devo to Nine Inch Nails to Vandals,
Perfect Circle,
all that
and,
stuff.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Holding On to Sound, which with Micah mentioned, you guys, Bob and Zubby were both in that. Mm-hmm. Did Illicitor pretty much come about right on the heels of that breaking up?
Yeah, we already had some songs we were working on, and after that band broke up, we all kind of got together and we're just kind of like, hey, we don't really want to stop. We want to keep going. We like these songs. We want to keep playing. So we did. We just kind of in secret just took over the old band room that Hots was playing in, and we just started writing stuff. And we did that for a few months, and then I had a kid. So that kind of slowed me down.
That's a medical miracle.
I did, yeah. I carry this baby myself, all by myself, with no help at all. My wife did so much work, and
most of it, pretty much all of it.
Yeah. She still continues. And so yeah, I mean, having my first kid actually made me want to do it more. Because all I could think about was how cool is it going to be to go travel and play music, and this would be what I would do with my life, and have children to share that with. Some people might get scared and might get a little worried and not want to do it, but I don't know why. But we decided to have another kid after that because we weren't satisfied with just one, or we didn't learn our lesson the first time. And it just kind of slowed us down a teeny bit. But as far as what came after Hots, pretty much, I guess that's why it took so long, is because we just didn't really have a big rush. So we had all these songs kind of waiting to kind of come out. We just started playing shows and started having fun. And then Vanessa, the original drummer, which was in Hots, she just, I guess, wanted to kind of do her own thing for a little while, and we applaud her for it, because it's playing music and doing this for free and playing shows is not easy, and it can be draining. And there's a reason why people don't do it for very long, or they do it forever. There's a reason why.
Sure.
So I don't know. I mean, I think that these songs could have been hot songs, but I think because of what happened, they kind of evolved into something heavier that wouldn't have really fit, I guess, the genre that Hots was playing.
Did you take any of the Hots material and kind of rework it? That wasn't any of the reworking that was done?
It was just, like he said, it was just some of the stuff that we had written. We were like, oh, maybe it'll be a Hot song, but when that ended, we just kept working on those songs and kind of dropped the Hot songs, and it was, for us, it was pretty smooth. It was like he said, it was just what we did. It was kind of like our therapy. Like we just go and write songs together now. And
it's kind of helped us get through everything that, going kind of that, for me at least, that band was a big deal. It was my whole life, it was everything I did and everything I talked about and everything I wanted to do. And so I didn't feel satisfied with just ending the music that way and not playing anymore. And I was lucky to have Vanessa and Bob, and then lucky to have Micah. So it's just, it feels very nice. It's kind of nice to have, I guess, to show up to band practice and be excited to show a song off and know that, like, when I leave here, I'm not going to be discouraged by whatever they say. I'm just going to be stoked because I know it's going to be better than what I came in with. and it always is. Every time I leave, I'm always like, I stop halfway through a song and just be like, big old grin ear to ear, and be like, I can't believe it sounds like this. I can't believe I pulled this in. I'm so excited about it. I'm so happy, just because I could have never pulled this off by myself. I would have never been able to come up with what Micah comes up with or what Bob comes up with. It's just it's refreshing and fun and easy, you know. And I wouldn't say easy, because it's still a struggle to have to write stuff you think people will like, or at least you like. But I don't know. They make it easy. They make it fun.
Okay.
It's fun to figure it out together.
Yeah.
Because, I like to think that when you guys bring songs in, that it's just like the bass. And then you know that, not like the bass guitar, but like the bass of the song. Because you'll come in with like almost a completely written songs, but you have that wherewithal that I know that you're going to do this dynamic, Bob, and I'm going to throw something on the drums differently than you thought of, but that's what you're counting on. And that's where we kind of get the juices flowing.
Yeah. The rush
It does take pressure off, for sure. Because I know that, like, I'm not going to have to get too invested into whatever I play, you know. I don't feel like no one's ever really, like, what would you pull, like, the trump card and be like, no, we have to do this. This is what we're going to do. It's really nice to just kind of show up and just be like, we don't know. It's just going to, whatever happens, you know. Just have a good time. Yeah. And try to write something fun and something we all enjoy that makes us excited to play and show off to people. And I just try to impress Micah, pretty much. Try to show up and just be like, what can I make Micah stoked
You mean
about?
Beyond the Beard?
Yeah, he doesn't care about that. Yeah, he doesn't care.
He's more than a beard to me.
Who's
More than
Rock's
a beard
beard?
to me.
I think it's way bigger than mine. But it's cool. Micah's definitely, I think, my, what would you call it? I guess, like, my boilerplate for if I'm going to show up with something, I'm like, is Micah going to like this? Because that's how I want.
You can just call me your muse. That's totally cool too.
Yeah, I
Your
guess.
sounding board.
Yeah, I guess so. I just kind of
You run it through the Micah filter before you see whether it's actually going to, much like coffee.
So I'm like, I got 3 other bands here, man. What's going on? Time's a wasted.
Yeah.
No, that's a big compliment, because, like I said, like with Holding On to Sound, I looked up to these guys like a lot. We were kind of contemporaries in the Quitters, like playing with them, and they were always like that echelon ahead of us. We were like, whenever they did something, we're like, oh, we got to try to do something too. So when Zubby says something like that, I'm like, man, this is insane to me that like somebody that I looked up to that much is using me as like a litmus test to like if it's a good thing. So that's really cool. We're kind of,
taste.
We're having a soap opera moment.
A little bonding moment.
Show, yeah.
So, okay, well, they're going to have a group hug while we take a quick break and come back. Illicitor, my in-studio guest here on the Homegrown Show.
House of Blues teams up with the noise.
Local music scene, it's really great.
Sunday nights at 10.
A+, man, A+.
Exclusively on Komp 92.3, the Rock Station.
Welcome back to the show. If you're just tuning in late, Illicitor is my in-studio guest here tonight. We've got a CD release party coming up. That's happening in 2 weeks. That's going to be on March 3rd over at Cornish Pasty Company with the Rifleman, Indigo Kid, Brendan Schultz, and Brock Verbeel. And that is a free show. It starts at 8 p.m. It is a 21 and over show. Is that the first opportunity people are going to have to get the CD?
Yes, the physical CD, and actually a ton of new merch that we had basically for the CD release. It's all going to be brand new there. So
one of you guys mentioned something kind of like a throwaway comment, but it was intriguing enough to me to want to follow up on it. You said that you're hand making all of these CDs. What's that about?
We are hand making them. We printed it.
Like the packaging.
Yeah. Because like you said, obviously we're on radio, so you can't see what the CD is, but it's essentially a pop-up. So we kind of basically used a design from
Gasoline Kills, another band on GC Records.
That was it's a very lo-fi design, but it's really about when you open up the CD and you see what's on the inside. That's sort of like...
Yeah, it's really cool, but, I mean, did you guys think this through? I mean, like, are you going to be, like, hand-making these before every gig, or what's
pretty much. Yeah, that's where we're at right now.
Someone green-lighted that plan.
There was a precedent for it. We actually...
we all asked for it.
we actually did the same thing in Hots, actually. The last full-length album that we did, we actually just bought blank CD cases and got a rubber stamp and stamped every CD with the album art, and it was just black and white, and that's how we sold records.
What was who came up with the concept behind doing this?
I would say we all kind of talked about it. I think Bob came up with most of the idea for it. We had just imagine that same packaging but just white. And we just were like, what are we going to fill up these panels with? And Bob came out with these, a pretty good amount of ideas. And then Brock and Bob kind of got together, I assume, the most and got that.
Yeah, we just talked about different kind of things that we could use and kind of making an intricate design. We used alchemy charts from the 1700s as inspiration and kind of went from there and just kind of used basically, like you said, the graphic novel quality of it is everything that's on the record image wise is, or on the CD packaging itself is on the record. It's themes or images that we put into the lyrics. So it's not a concept record by any means, but the way that we kind of package it and put it out there is when you look at it, you're going to go through the journey of the record, just by the visuals. So
that's actually really cool. And so these are going to be available at the CD release party that's happening on Saturday, March 3rd over at Cornish Pasty Company, which, by the way, awesome food there, too. If you haven't been there, good stuff. Good stuff. I'm assuming you're playing back in the back of the
Yep.
restaurant.
We're right on top of the bar. Yeah. It's a new concept.
Yep.
Not a concept record, but a
the
concept
last time
show.
that will happen as well, I'm sure.
First and last Illicitor record at
Yep.
Cornish Pasty.
So welcome back to the Homegrown Show. I'm Lori Steele. My in-studio guest tonight, Illicitor. They are having their CD release party Saturday, March 3rd at Cornish Pasty Company, and that is a free show. It starts at 8 p.m. Lots of other very cool bands on the bill, but it's all about Illicitor that night. We've been chatting with the guys about the new CD, which is eponymous, and we're going to get some tasty live stuff here in studio right now from the band. So why don't you introduce the song that we're going to hear right now and give us a little insight into it?
Well, this song is called Daft Punky Brewster, only because we can't take ourselves too serious when we write stuff. And it's lyrically, it's kind of a tough one to talk about. It's one of those songs where you get to have a deeper meaning and let people kind of figure it out for themselves. If you knew us or knew me really close, you would probably pick up on some of the events in the song and you would know what it's about. But it's definitely something that's hard to talk about on the air because it's about a particular person.
Okay. Well, you know that you just insisted that I talk to you about it off the air, right? Because you're not walking out of here without spilling everything.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We'll chat about it.
Oh, we'll chat. We'll chat. Illicitor's live in studio. It's the Homegrown Show.
The creatures must move on. The skies can't shelter them no more. And who are you to tell us what to do with our time and our energy? You talk about you or forget the past or pull through. Don't let them in any deeper. Be a mountain or the shell of your former self.
Very nice. Illicitor live in studio here on the Homegrown Show. While you're set up, let's do one other one, because you guys do the 50% writing and singing.
Sure.
It feels like it would be unfair to not represent the other half of what you stylistically can bring to the Illicitor table.
For sure.
So what are we going to do now with Bob singing, right?
How do you feel? You want to do?
Thanks.
You want to do City?
Yes, it's City.
You want to do City?
Okay, well, that's one that our listeners are familiar
with, yeah.
with, so this will give them a chance to check it out live. But quickly, before we actually perform it, I do want to ask, is it difficult, because your style is such a heavy punk/metal style, do you find it's difficult to translate the songs into the acoustic realm?
Not always. I mean, this song in particular started acoustically, and then Body on the record also started acoustically, at least from my standpoint. So I never thought that they would be heavy until I played it with them, and then we did it, and it came out like really heavy. So we were like, all right, cool, it works. But I think having the experience of being in Hots and doing this, and Micah's experience in his bands, we kind of have like a Swiss Army knife of stuff to draw from.
Okay.
And so it's always going to end up being heavy in some aspect, but there's going to be reggae elements, there's going to be metal elements, there's going to be all these different things that just meet in the middle, and then that's our sound. So Illicitor, my in-studio guest, City of Gold, the song that they're about to do live, and this is one that I've been playing a while, but I didn't get it from you in studio before, so give me some insight into what this one's about. Sure. This song, I kind of wrote it as like a ode to Las Vegas in a way, because it's obviously about the title of City of Gold, and like Vegas is kind of in the location you would think the mythical City of Gold would be, like, and a lot of people come here to make money really quick and dash, and like the song kind of addresses the fickle nature of Las Vegas, but also the like kind of the people in Vegas that that are lifers that are here and they stick with it, and that's sort of like the idea of this is how you win the Wild West. You go through the summers and you
stake your claim.
Yeah, exactly. So that's sort of where the idea of it came from, and that's what it's about.
All right, it's Illicitor live in studio on the Homegrown Show.
Right.
Mind on the door, wonder what these kids will do.
Illicitor live in studio on the Homegrown Show. Very nicely done, guys.
Thank you.
So the show, the CD release party, is it going to be acoustic? I know you have some acoustic acts opening up. Are you going to perform your stuff all plugged in? You going to split it up? You going to do a little of both, all one or the
We're
other?
going to be playing loud. We'll be playing very loud.
We'll pop doggy on that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and you are the last band of the evening?
Yeah, we're gonna close it out.
Okay.
Oh.
What I want to do, I'm going to take the show a little bit late because I can. And what I want to do is I want to play one of the songs off of the album and chat a little bit longer. If you guys are down to stay and hang out a little bit.
I got a bit of time.
Okay, so I want to. I want to play this one because we chatted about it off the air a little bit, and I want you to give me some of the backstory on this song. I Heart CIA.
Oh boy. Well,
Well, how about we do this? How about we play the song, and then you come back and you can.
explain afterwards?
Yeah, let's do that.
Cool with that.
Illicitor live in studio with me. It's KOMP 92.3 Las Vegas. Taking Homegrown a little longer because I feel like it. Don't go far. Here's brand new stuff we're debuting. It's I Heart CIA on the Homegrown Show.
What we got here is a failure to communicate.
That is Illicitor, brand new stuff that we just debuted here, and it added us all to another list or two, I'm sure. It's I Heart CIA.
Yeah, and I know how you feel.
So you promised a little backstory on that one, a little insight into why you wrote it.
Well, I was very mad. I was very frustrated. I see what a lot of other people see and feel uncomfortable talking about, and I feel like sometimes even on Facebook or other social media platforms, if I say something, I get a lot of backlash, mostly because of obvious reasons.
Obvious maybe to us in here,
Right.
but not to the listeners.
Right.
So
Well,
do you want to explain?
People who see my Facebook profile picture and see a dark guy with a giant beard, and I can see where they automatically start, saying something. Just like if I saw a picture of a clown, I would assume they were funny. So
They're terrifying, actually.
That works in John Wayne Gacy's favor, by the way.
and so maybe that's a bad analogy, but I mean, yeah,
Time travel backwards, and let's give you back to this.
Rewind.
It's just I think what it feels like, or to me what the song feels like when I wrote it, is just it feels like there's just more going on, and it just seems it's just too well orchestrated. Or at least that people have figured out a way, or these groups have figured out a way to manipulate the way we see things, the way we hear things, the way we eat things, the way we do everything. And I feel like there is kind of and that's not just me being, the tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist that I feel like I am, but
Hey, you know what? You're not alone in that club.
no, totally not. And the thing that's a bummer about that club, at the end of the day, what I feel like is even if like 1% of that everything is true, then that sucks, and that something really crazy is going on. And whether it's like Bigfoot or aliens or this overseeing sort of group that kind of controls things, not necessarily in a way where they're like physically controlling it. It's just they find these opportunities and they put their money where they need to get agendas done.
Sure.
And it's a bummer that we're all feeling that right now. Exactly what everyone in the United States is feeling, where they're like, oh man, Russia's doing this, Russia's doing that. You're like, well, that's kind of a bummer because the U.S. has been kind of doing the same exact thing 20 times worse to almost everybody else. And it's a bummer that I have to say it because people look at me and go, why are you saying that? So I just sit back and just write songs.
Because you
about
can.
it. I know, but at the same time, people don't care. They even though I was born here, like literally at UMC, like down the street, I still do feel I wouldn't say alienated because that's like the wrong thing to say because I don't feel alienated.
Profiled.
But I do kind of feel that way sometimes. Yeah. I really do, and it's hard not to feel it even if people aren't even doing anything or saying anything at all. Like I could just walk into a room and just kind of get uncomfortable because I'm just kind of like, well, I just don't know what people are going to think. I don't want people to get upset by my appearance.
Well, okay, let me just interrupt you long enough to say, for people who haven't seen your profile and people are listening are like, well, what is it about this guy? You are of Afghani descent, even though you're born and raised here. So, and clearly, I mean, with the beard lends into that, but, you have a certain appearance that you're not shying away from.
No,
you're not shying away from.
I grew a beard so that I could be Fidel Castro for Halloween. I'm not kidding. Like 10 years ago, and I just kind of people were like, hey, it's a cool beard. I was like, sweet. And then 300 came out.
Then the hipster movement happened, and you were just sucked in.
Yeah, I was kind of bummed a little bit when all these people started growing like big giant beards, and then Brock has one that's like shaved and grown it, and it's still bigger than mine. And it's just I kind of kept my beard not for religious reasons, but mostly as a filter, because I kind of feel like if people look at just that, and then they come and approach me, and that's like still the only thing they look at, then it's just kind of like, it's a bummer. You suck as a person. That you can't get past that. But I've had like my nose pierced at one point in life, and I had like old ladies just look at that, and it was kind of refreshing. That was the only thing that would like piss them off. And I'm like, oh, cool, you don't care about my beard, great. But it's just so stupid and trivial. It's just a beard. It's just something that everybody has, and I think that now, because it is so popular, it makes me feel a lot more comfortable having it. But I still can't. I mean, if I had a shaved face, I still don't look like I'm over from around these parts. You know what I mean? So I think writing songs about that kind of helps me cope with it and kind of helps me deal with it and kind of add a little bit more light to it, where it's like just me being stupid and me being in my own head, because I have such a great support staff. I wouldn't say staff. Support group.
Minions. You have minions. You brought minions with you tonight.
We're all.
You have friends. I think is what you're trying to say.
Normal people have friends.
But it's not necessarily just. It's not just friends. I get these people reassure me. Like as soon as so and so was elected president, I mean, these guys give me hugs. People are calling me saying, "Hey man, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like, how's your family? I'm like, that's just a normal day to them. It's just not a big deal. And it's just kind of nice to see that, like, wow, so many people are concerned with how I feel about what's going on, that they've reached out. And it's a great thing.
And I will say, it is cool that, people are doing that, but at the same time, I feel like people almost bend over backwards to not offend anybody, that it's like, it's paralyzing.
Yeah. No, I think it's a context thing. I think if you're being a bully, or if you're taunting and you call somebody a derogatory word, that's not you being PC, that's just you being a jerk.
Sure.
But if you're like, if something happens and you just like I mean, I don't know, if you say Oriental for a rug, then if someone gets offended by that, then that's like kind of on them, because you're not being offensive. And so there's a difference between somebody who's like, if somebody calls somebody who's homosexual like a word they don't like, and that person's like, hey man, you can't just stop me from saying what I want. It's like, no man, there's a difference between being respectful and just like saying a word that's not a big deal. It's all context. That's all it is. At the end of the day, it's just context.
Yeah, and I mean, and people can say what they want, but there's repercussions and consequences.
Yeah, there's freedom of speech, but there's no freedom of repercussions.
Right.
And that's a very important thing that people need to understand. And things like amendments are called amendments. They're not called permanents. They're called amendments. They can be amended. You know what I mean? There's a really touchy subject, but I mean, like, times change, things change. The situations are different. People are different. The world's different. There's a lot of things we don't do that we used to do, and it's just the way things are. And people are really trying to hold on to those. Like, if you really want to go back to go use a rotary phone, get off your iPhone. If you really want to go back to those things, go do all the things that they did. Don't use medicine. Don't use the internet. Don't use any of those things. Go back to it. Have fun. And
that's the Amish community, which you would fit right into as well.
And they, I mean, I like these technologies, so I wouldn't fit in very well. I like a microwave and a cell phone and things of that nature. But going back to the other subject, I mean, the songwriting is a way for me to kind of get those subjects out without feeling worried, that like somebody, like I can't just have that conversation with somebody in some regards, like a stranger.
Sure. Well, do you find
up to somebody and say these things? But
do you find the songs like obviously with us it opened up a door, but we're having it's an interview, so those things are going to happen. But at shows, like, do people approach you and does it spark conversations?
No, not really, because they can't hear us. We're yelling a lot and screaming a lot. So I think it kind of gets hidden. The message is hidden behind that, and that's kind of what I like about the album with the lyrics in there. So somebody is hearing those kinds of vocals, but they can come back and look at the lyrics and be like, oh, that's what he's saying. That's actually kind of funny.
But then
that's
also
kind of serious. That's kind of a good point.
Also, something is that with the appearance that you have and the type of music that you play, it's a contradiction to what most people's thoughts are of like what's going on with, you know, like what they would previously judge, because they see you up there with like your ears gauged and you're yelling your brains out.
There's a lyric on the album. He even says, "Have you ever seen a terrorist with a few tattoos?" Where it's you know, he's literally calling out that mindset of like, do I look like what you're stereotyping me as? And,
Right.
you know, it's like you said, it's the context in some instances of just common sense of just not being a jerk, you know, and you know that's you know, he obviously was going to deal with stuff like that more than any of us are going to deal with it. So,
Yeah.
But it's still like obviously having a friend that goes through some of those things, you know, like. You know, people saying things to him at the grocery store or whatever. Like, that doesn't happen to any one of us, you know, so we just, you know, that's what he said. Like, you know, we're here to support him and try to encourage him to put it more into the writing and not be afraid to let that out, because that's obviously the, you know, like he said that's the most comfortable spot to put some of these thoughts.
Yeah.
And I think people understand it a little, like in the context of the music, when you hear like how, like just full and angry the music as a whole is, it just adds to that feeling of like he used the word alienation, but I think that a lot of people do feel alienation and isolation over things like that, you know, and I think it's important to have stuff like that in the music, because music is where a lot of us go to feel connected with other people, you know, and it's important to have that in there.
For sure, and it's clearly cathartic. Just don't call it a manifesto.
Hey,
Totally, yeah. There's certain words we don't use.
We're already on lists.
There's obviously things, and you know the bummer is that although with all the recent events of the people who are actually really hurting Americans, they don't look like me, and that's just makes them even more mad, you know, and bums them out even more, because they want it to look like me so bad. They want it to be somebody just like me, and it's not, and they just can't get past it, you know.
Yeah.
It's just it's kind of a weird thing. I didn't really understand it until, like, I mean, I kind of grew up with knowing it, that obviously we were different. I had pita bread and peanut butter and jelly rather than Wonder Bread and peanut butter and jelly. So there's obviously differences growing up, but I mean, obviously post 9/11 made it very clear of where I stood in society and how people viewed me.
Well, I don't think that all people, I mean, just like you can't be stereotyped, I don't think everyone can be stereotyped on the opposite side either. And I think that talking to people, you know, like anyone can be part of a group. Anybody in this room can be looked at as part of a group. It's when you talk to people one-on-one, and when you get to know that person as an individual, that all that falls away, and you see a person and not, you know, a list of descriptors.
Right. And I try to be really nice. I try to, like, go out of my way to, like, grab somebody's shopping cart and put it back for them, and kind of go out of my way to make it a point, you know, to show them, hey, look, I understand what I look like. I get it. I choose to look this way, and that's my own thing. And I don't expect everyone to like the way I look, but my actions should speak louder.
Sure, but you shouldn't have to go out of your way. I mean, if that's what you're doing genuinely as a nice person, that's one thing. I mean,
I like doing it, but that's where it comes from. That's where the roots are. It's me going, hey, like, that person didn't look at me funny. I just go, hey, man, can I go change that person's view for a second? And just it's something as easy as pulling, you know, taking a shopping cart from somebody, or holding the door for somebody, or something along those lines. But I'm also human too. I get pissed and I get mad.
Sure.
I've yelled at people. You know, I've gotten angry about these subjects. And I've gotten angry watching people treat other people poorly and not even say anything about me necessarily.
So what do you find is more cathartic, the writing process, or actually like getting up on stage and like venting and purging it that way?
I don't have a problem with getting up there and doing that. For some reason, as soon as I get up there, I hit a switch and I just turn into this other person. I just can't shut up, and I get to say it. But
I mean, does that help you blow off the steam to where when you then flip the switch back off, it's not still there?
Yeah, totally. Like if we don't play or I don't practice, I get antsy. Yeah, it kind of makes me feel like I haven't gotten a chance to kind of let that blow off valve go. You know, it just gets it just starts to build up a little bit, you know, and especially with all the stuff recently going on. I mean, we're always like one tweet away from just smacking our heads, you know, because that's just what it seems like.
Oh yeah.
You were like, seriously, dude, are you that dumb? You know, and that's the thing that's kind of a bummer, you know. It's just that I if that's the case, we should be playing like every 5 minutes, because that's how it feels like sometimes.
Well, you are playing though on Saturday, March 3rd.
Yeah,
That's the big.
Fun,
So okay, so how long have you been together as a band, Illicitor as a band? I mean, not as Hots, you know.
Yeah. This lineup since 2014, right? Like that was 2014.
Yeah, I think it was like March of 2014.
Yeah.
Okay, so 4 years from the inception of the band to when you're doing your first CD release party for the eponymous full length that you're doing.
Yep.
That's going to be available there at the CD release party. Cornish Pasty Co. is where it's going to be on Charleston and Art downtown. It's a free show. It starts at 8. It is 21 and over. The CD is going to be there. You were mentioning other merch that's going to be there as well. Are you performing like the whole album? Like, are you mixing it up? Are you doing it like start to finish? What are you doing?
I think we're gonna do. I think we'll do. We actually have a handful of new songs that we've been working into our sets recently too. So I think we'll obviously give the album some love because we're gonna play it. But we really like playing the new stuff. So
you'll have to just come on down and find out for yourself.
Well, you've been living with these songs for 3, 4, however many years.
Yeah, exactly.
But remember, your audience hasn't.
Right.
So you know you need to make sure you don't rush too much and leave them in the rear view while you're looking at the new stuff.
Absolutely.
Give them some legs.
Yeah. So yeah, we.
But yeah, I guess we're gonna play all of them. Then turns out.
Yeah, it turns out we're doing the whole thing.
We're just gonna play things.
You got that pen out?
Yeah.
We wrote that one down.
Added that one.
I underlined it.
Lori's list.
So well, let me ask you this, Illicitor. How does this having this CD change the band's goals? Like, are you looking at wanting to tour this coming year? Are you looking at opportunities to play other markets? What are you doing?
That's actually the main goal. I mean, having a record, having stuff recorded, just so people can get it, because when you're a local band, there is sort of a bubble around you, and you're kind of bouncing off the other bands and out of other venues, and if you're going to grow, you have to get, like you said, go to other markets and tour. So it's been something that we haven't gotten out of town as Illicitor more than just a few times out to California and stuff, but we know that there are people like as far out as Texas that want to want us to come through. So
it's challenging though to be able to do that if you don't have a product to get into their hands for the local market, because I mean, until they see you, if you have nothing for them to really check out,
right. So
that makes it challenging, right?
So and that's why we do all this stuff. That's why we come on the show, and we're always stoked when the people at Review Journal or the Weekly give us love, and because that just goes into the portfolio, and we just add it. You're never you're always kind of hitting these goals, these little finish lines, but there's just another one around the corner. There's another level to get to. So we were talking about like the fact that this record took us so long that we have all of these songs on deck ready to go. We're even talking about recording next week, actually, like in between now and doing the CD release, like doing
No, you'll be busy folding and cutting CD inserts.
You're right.
No, we had a caller that
cramped.
volunteered her services, so
we've got
so we're starting to outsource now. Things are moving up for us. So
within this hour, this program works.
Exactly. Proof is in the pudding right here.
Speaking of your artwork, who is responsible for your artwork?
Mr. Brock Fabiel. Did I say it right? I said it right because I'm your friend.
We learned the correct pronunciation of Mr. Brock's name, which I've mispronounced many a time here on the show because, let's face it, you spell it weird and it's difficult to translate well into the spoken word.
But you know now.
And I blame you.
It's all his fault.
It is. And pretty much anything from this point on that says Illicitor on it, Brock has done the artwork for.
Okay.
Yeah.
The shirts, the hoodies, the buttons, everything. We'll give him like a couple ideas, and then we'll come back to it, a couple weeks later to show us kind of what he's worked with. And, and I think we've given him probably less direction than he needed, and worked on his own time to do all this for us, and probably worked just as much, if not more, than the three of us on this project.
So he is the fourth member of Illicitor.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
yeah. And he's a wonderful guitar player and great songwriter. And I play in another band with him called Go Bold. Kind of like what Micah does. He just kind of gets to play other stuff. It's pretty awesome to do. I don't have any responsibilities in that band, which is nice. Doc pretty much takes care of everything.
You don't even play the bass. You just show up.
Yeah,
You're like the dancing guy from Mighty Mighty Boss
Yeah.
songs.
I'm like a fly girl.
Yeah.
On a Living Color. I just dance.
And if I
just
could,
wanna dance.
if I could throw just one more shout out, because I know he mentioned Ronald Corso, who is the guy who let us come into his studio and make a whole bunch of yells and screams into his microphones and stuff. But the other guy that worked on this record that actually mixed and mastered the whole thing is Mike Lavin over at Digital Insight Studios, and basically him and I shared a bunker making this record. So if he's listening, big ups to him, and he's awesome. So
And check out his band, The Plurals They just came out with an awesome music video called She's Asking For It. It's not what you think it is.
yeah, it's really
Nope.
good. Yeah.
It's awesome.
So, okay, let's talk about a little bit more about the CD release party before we get out of here. Because my listeners have come to expect a little special gift for them for any of the bands I have in here. So, basically the deal is that if one of my listeners goes down to your show and picks up a copy of the new album and they let you know that they heard the interview here on the Homegrown Show, you need to give them a little extra love. So how are you going to express that love other than hugs?
Other than really good,
Yes,
comfortable,
that's off the table.
nurturing hugs.
This is 2018. You can't give hugs to strangers anymore.
That's true.
When could you ever give hugs to strangers?
The 70s. There's a lot of cocaine and nudity, and it was acceptable in the 70s.
Too much hair.
Good answer.
Hey, what'd you
Well,
kinda say?
we thought about discounting the album, $5.
Yeah.
$5 off?
$5 off.
It's
yeah.
$300, and we're taking $5 off.
Nice.
Only got some couples.
Nice.
It's handmade, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
It's made.
You will
it's made
sell
of hands.
zero.
It's made of hands. The whole album is made of hands.
But we're willing to negotiate. But
Yeah. We'll start at $300, and we'll kind of work our way down, and we'll just see where we land. If it's right around $10, that's cool. Won't take less than that.
yeah.
That's about it. And we'll give you a sticker. You'll get to see us. You get to smell
And it
us.
is a free show.
It is a free show
yeah.
too. Yeah.
So let me also do this, because there's a lot of stuff happening in town that night. So here is your opportunity to reach out to the listeners and make your pitch, your impassioned plea for them to show up for your show. Why, out of all the options that night, should they go and check out your CD release party?
Because we'll make all your wildest dreams come true.
That is a lie.
But that was such a quick answer. That was, it's true because it was that quick.
The place that we're playing has amazing food.
It does.
They have a great bar. They have a great atmosphere. All of the people that are playing are actually very attractive.
Especially Brendan.
Brendan is probably the most attractive male.
He's doing his hair right now, I think.
Yes. But
That's true. That's true. He's posting pictures online of him doing his
Posting
hair.
pictures of him doing his hair.
But we ask bands, and we have people playing the show that are some of our favorites in town, and we think the world of them. So especially because you may not have heard of the Riflemen, or you may not have heard of Indigo Kid. If you come out to the show, you are going to be pleasantly surprised, because everybody that's on it, including us, are pretty good. So yeah, we're all right, but we get other people to make us look good. So, but yeah, that's what do you got, Micah?
I'm finally gonna get gauges put in my ears. I'm the only one that doesn't have them in the band currently.
Really? You're really
We're gonna
doing
do the
that?
live
You're gonna do it?
gauge piercing
Ooh.
extravaganza.
Wow.
we
See,
didn't
this
talk
is
about
news to them. They didn't.
Yeah,
even
we didn't know about this.
So
How big is it going?
Here's exclusive for your show.
You don't even have earlobes. How do you?
Are you going to bill it as like a drumming accident?
No, this is intentional. It's gonna happen. Guaranteed, 100%.
Wow.
All right.
I'm actually really proud of him.
You
This is
don't have
awesome.
earlobes.
Hey man, my ears got some. I got something to work with these ears, man.
He's no fruit bat, but I mean,
Fine then, maybe I won't do it.
Wait, so you're doing this at the show? Are you saying you're doing this at the show?
Lori, we get these pressure points put on us in these interviews, and I'm just trying to make it interesting. Maybe it'll happen.
Oh no,
maybe it won't.
no, you
That
can't.
ship has sailed.
Yeah, there's no traveling in time for this one, buddy. You have committed on air to getting Gages live at your CD release party.
You set the bar very high.
Yeah, well,
Luckily for you, it's a bar, and you
It
can
is
be
a bar.
very drunk, and you probably should do this after you play and not before.
I think it should be during. Yeah, just load me up. Just
Well,
load me
that
up
would
with
be
the
punk
Moscow
rock.
Mules,
That right
and,
there would be punk rock.
There we go. I got.
So
add
people
to the
who
legend, I
listened
guess.
late for the Illicitor interview have got some extra nuggets of homegrown goodness here, because this is going to happen. And if you don't, what a disappointment you're going to be to everybody that's out there at that show expecting that to
If
you.
we don't, it's another extra $1 off of the album.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. That's it. Just
For every gauge you don't get.
Every so
every size you
we're
don't go
giving
to.
away the album apparently.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Sorry,
now
guys.
see, now the pressure's on you guys to make him keep his word.
I guess you do the left.
You
here,
have
I do
to
the
do
right
it.
here. Is that what you will do?
What?
You do the left one, I'll do the right one.
Sure.
Okay.
You just play.
We're
You play a drum roll.
Yeah,
while
We're just a performance artist band,
Yeah.
instead of music.
yeah.
You never know what's going to happen when you walk into this studio.
I did not anticipate me saying anything like that today. So
Now you're locked in the station.
My work
accessory.
here is
suppose
done.
so,
My
yeah.
work here is done. Guys, thank you for coming down.
thanks for having
Thank
us
you
so
for having
much. We
us.
appreciate it.
Illicitor, their CD release party is happening Saturday, March 3rd, with a live gauging action happening.
An engagement,
I was
if you
gonna
will.
say it's an
Yeah.
engagement. Yeah.
Oh, it's an engagement party.
It's free. It starts at 8 o'clock. We're holding you to this, Micah. This is happening.
Okay.
And I think you should live stream it to make sure that anyone who can't get down there can see it and be a part of this Illicitor experience.
Okay. I owe it to the fans.
You do. You really do. At this point, you do. So it's a
gotta do
free
it.
show. You're definitely going to get your money's worth if you go down for this. It's going to be a great time. The CD is amazing. Definitely pick one up there. Make sure you mention that you heard this interview and get your $5 off your $300 purchase point.
Yeah.
You know, slave labor should come cheaper than $300.
Well,
just so
we're all
you
really
know.
good at this stuff, so we want to charge more for our CD making abilities.
That's not how any of this works.
It's a high quality CD case.
We're unconventional.
Obviously, I don't know any business. Obviously,
We definitely
I
need to
work
have a
for
chat
someone.
after this, yes.
I did
All
not go
right.
to college for business. One more thing I wanted to add real quick. If you want to look up any more stuff for us, it's on Illicitor.us.
And your Facebook link is also linked through on the Homegrown Show Facebook page.
Awesome.
Yes. And it's also gcrecords.com if you want to peep any of the other music.
All right.
Jesse Pino.
Best of luck,
and
guys.
Trotters Union.
Thank you.
And yes, best of luck. Have a fantastic show. I can't wait for the gauging footage to pop up online.
right.
thought you were coming to the
that alone is going to make the price of admission worth it.
Totally.
So, all right,
miss it.
remember, next week, my in-studio guests here, members of 12 Volt Sex. Make sure you're here for that as well. Till the next time, take care.